The Lagos State government has concluded arrangements for its inaugural Sustainability Summit, an immersive session to showcase the future of the city in September. The initiative, coordinated by the Office of the Sustainable Development Goals, is in conjunction with the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency and the Lagos State Safety Commission. Speaking at a news briefing in Lagos, the Special Advisor to the Lagos State Governor on Sustainable Development Goals, Finnih, said the current administration is committed to strategic planning, resource mobilization, and rigorous monitoring to build a more equitable, inclusive, and prosperous Lagos. She said the summit, with the theme, Building a Resilient and Sustainable Lagos, is also about building a state that is environmentally sound.
Our gathering today is not just about dialogues, but we're going to take decisive actions that will shape the future of our dear city, Lagos. Our theme for this year, Building a Resilient and Sustainable Lagos, serves as a call to action. It's going to be a roadmap guiding our efforts to forge a city that is prosperous, equitable, and environmentally sound. It is a vision where innovation thrives and every citizen has the opportunity to succeed.
This conversation basically is about building a sustainable Lagos. It's about building a resilient and sustainable Lagos. And as we gather here to talk about the future of Lagos State with regards to sustainability, with regards to residents, it is crucial to also emphasize the role of occupational safety and health. A lot of people, when they hear sustainability, the first thing that comes to mind is the environment. Yes, it's very, very important. We need to ensure that we live without destroying and harming the future generations to come. But it's also important that when we think about sustainability, we need to think about creating a safe and healthy workplace. And what is a workplace? A workplace is everywhere. If you're working in a hotel, the workplace is your hotel. If you're a bus driver, your workplace is your bus. If you're working in a school, your workplace is a school.
Fantastic. We're now being joined for a conversation by Dr. Oreowula Finnih, Special Advisor on SDGs to Lagos State Governor, who you saw speaking there on the efforts to forge a sustainable development model for Lagos on infrastructure, health, and human capital. Good morning, Doctor. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Chito. Good morning, Steve.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, of course. Now, Dr. Finnih, the Lagos Sustainability Summit, I think the theme is Building a Resilient and Sustainable Lagos.
Yes.
Is being held as a groundbreaking event. The name alone already suggests a forward-thinking approach. Can you elaborate on what resilience means in the context of Lagos and how this summit will address the specific challenges that the city faces?
Fantastic, thank you. Resilience means the ability to absorb shocks. It could be any kind of shock. It could be climate. It could be an event. It could be an act of God. It could be so many things, meaning something unprecedented. Now, for Lagos already being at sea level, it is prone to flooding. For Lagos hosting 10% of the population of Nigeria on 0.1% of the land is also facing challenges with using land and housing and all those kind of things. So for us as the Office of Sustainable Development Goals, as is provide an overview of what the state should be looking at in terms of the areas where focus should be. Now, what we should do is take it back. How did we get to sustainability and sustainable development goals? In the year 2000, the United Nations looked and said, okay, generally, there's a lot of poverty in certain areas of the world and came up with the Millennium Development Goals. In 2015, they took a look at those 8 development goals and said, it's not wide enough. It needs to cover more things apart from poverty. We need to look at the climate. We need to look at gender. We need to look at cities. We need to look at people, peace, prosperity, and then come up with a better plan. and then the Sustainable Development Goals were born. And we are to attain those goals by 2030. Now, if we're going to attain those goals, it requires a concerted effort. For us in Lagos, we acknowledge that the private sector has indeed played a huge role in ESG, meaning trying to attain sustainability. ESG is environment, social, and governance. For us as Lagos State, the governance key comes up. And therefore, it's important for us to put everybody in the room. Captains of industry, leaders in the financial sector, healthcare sector, as your corporate social organizations, your non-governmental organizations, and our development partners, international bodies, put everybody in the same room. Let's create a roadmap and say, for Lagos, this is the direction in which we would like to go. And if you're planning policy, if you're also trying to take steps, it's important for everybody's voice to be heard such that those things become successful. If everybody, if it's a concerted effort, then it becomes a successful effort. And that's the reason why it's important for us to have the summit now. We're in the decade of action. We're only about 3.5 years away. 2030 is the deadline for the Millennium Development Goals. Yeah. So we're just a few years away from that deadline, and it's time for everybody, all hands, to be on deck.
The summit is on the 12th of September?
The summit is on the 12th of September at 10 a.m. at Eco Hotel and Suites.
All right. Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. But let's talk a bit about your office, which I believe is part of the uniqueness and success stories of Lagos. Yes. A new office doing so well. And I think part of what I would like to to briefly comment about is the fact that the governor elevated at least two hardworking women, your good self being one. And I think Mrs. Titi Oshodi, who also moved from SSA to Special Advisor on Environment. What is the wisdom behind it, especially your office, and how are you, what have you recorded so far in slightly more than a year? And then is there any collaboration with another Lagos girl who is the, I'm not sure if she's still retaining that position, Mrs. Oreowula in Abuja, who was, the Development Millennium Goals, a woman in Abuja. Any correlation with her, or cooperation with Abuja? Okay,
so Governor Babajide is always a he for she governor. And very much recognizing the role that women have to play. He and his deputy, Alhaji Kadri Obafemi, Dr. Hamzat, are very much into inclusiveness. And for them, sustainability is a burning issue. Yeah. I also want to point out quickly that the themes agenda is a sustainability agenda. Therefore, every decision that is made, those key pillars that have been picked are to attain the goals. Therefore, we work closely with the private sector. I work closely with Mrs. Oshodi. We work closely with, for SDG 17 is partnership for the goals. Yeah. What that means is that you cannot go it alone, whether with other ministries or whether with the private sector or NGOs, CSOs. For us in our office, the first mandate is monitoring and evaluation. We should present the current situation of Lagos globally, not just public sector, private sector, as to where we are for the SDGs. Now, to that end, we have gone into community, and we are doing community needs assessments, especially for our hard-to-reach areas, and we have been supported by UNICEF in doing this to find out that where are we, in our hard-to-reach areas, are we making progress? What are the needs of some of these communities? And then solving the problem. And in solving the problem, one of the things that came up, especially for women, we're talking gender now, was financial literacy, which is a challenge for a lot of women. And therefore, we are now another partnership being supported by OPE and also Cowrywise to take financial literacy information to a lot of these communities, and also partnering with HCD, which is a Human Capital Development Organization as well. So these are some of the things that we're doing at our office. It's called the Lighthouse Project. For a lot of people who don't know what a lighthouse is a very tall building that guides ships safely to dock. And what we're trying to do is to guide our hard-to-reach communities safely into sustainability and making sure that they thrive. So those are some of the initiatives that we have.
You have mentioned that at your summit there's going to be stakeholders, NGOs, partners. But community engagement, of course, is a focal point of this summit. So two quick questions. How do you plan to ensure that the voices of everyday Lagosians are heard and integrated into the sustainability initiatives that emerge from this event? And secondly, you also mentioned that Lagos is at a crossroads in terms of sustainability. What do you see as the biggest risks if the city fails to adopt the strategies discussed at this summit?
Okay, I'll start with the second question.
Okay.
So for me, any city or any organization or any person that fails to plan will fail. And therefore, things will not go as well as they should. So it's important for everybody to be in the room and then plan for the success of Lagos. Now, the other question that you asked, we have a robust list. Everybody will have representation at this summit. It's very broad-based. The youth will be in the room. For us at SDG as well, we have a very vibrant volunteer corps, which is made up of youths. They will be in the room. CSOs, NGOs representing different parts of the 17 goals, very broad-based.
Yeah.
Everybody will be in the room. And so the average Lagosian will have a say as to how the future of Lagos should be.
Very quickly, who is the keynoter at the summit?
Oh, okay. Alhaji Rabiu Ulu, and he works in financial services reporting in Abuja. He's going to come and talk to us about sustainable reporting.
Great.
Thank you so much.
We really
We
have
wish
to
you
run,
the-
but I must quickly put this in. You mentioned resilient as part of the sustainable thing.
Yes.
Just to remind you that I think in 2018, Lagos was one of the 100, I think Rockefeller 100 resilient cities of the world. That's another area that you hammer on during the summit.
We will
But well
do.
done, good job.
I
Thank
wish
you
you the
very
very
much.
best.
Good job.
Thank you so much.